Alright, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into one of the most unexpected political shifts in recent years. How Mark Carney, a guy known for running central banks, just became the Prime Minister of Canada. Now, if you don't follow finance or politics too closely, you might be asking, why is this such a big deal? Well, imagine if the head of the Bank of England or the Federal Reserve suddenly ran for office and actually won. That's the level of shift we're talking about here. So in this episode, we're going to break it all down. Who is Mark Carney? How did he go from managing interest rates to leading a country? And what does this mean for Canada moving forward? And let's start with who is Mark Carney. Mark Carney was born in 1965 in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories. Carney's early life was rooted in Canada. He pursued higher education at Harvard and later at Oxford, focusing on economics, a field where he would soon make quite a substantial impact. After his studies, Carney spent over a decade at Goldman Sachs, one of the world's leading investment banks. This period equipped him with a deep understanding of global markets, and his expertise led him to the Bank of Canada, where he served as governor. During the 2008 financial crisis, Carney's leadership was pivotal in navigating Canada through turbulent economic waters, earning him international acclaim. His reputation for steady leadership caught the attention of the UK, and in 2013, he became the first non-British governor of the Bank of England. There, he tackled challenges like the aftermath of the financial crisis and the uncertainties surrounding Brexit. Now, despite his financial successes, Carney had always been on the periphery of politics. In 2012, he reportedly declined an offer from the then Prime Minister Stephen Harper to become Canada's finance minister, feeling it wasn't appropriate to transition directly from a central banking role to elective politics. However, his interest in public service remained evident, as he later endorsed political figures like Catherine McKenny in Ottawa's 2022 mayoral election and the UK Labour Party's shadow councillor Rachel Reeves in 2023. Fast forward to January 2025, Carney officially announced his candidacy for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada. His campaign quickly gained momentum, raising over $1.9 million from more than 11,000 donors by February. And securing endorsements from 66 Liberal caucus members. His financial acumen and international experience made him a compelling choice for leadership. Now, let's look into what Carney campaigned on and what he envisions for Canada's future. His platform was built on several key pillars. The first being economic resiliency. Now, Carney emphasised the need to diversify Canada's trade relationships, recognising the risk of over-reliance on a single market. He advocated for expanding exports to Europe and Asia, aiming to reduce vulnerabilities and strengthen economic stability. He secondly talked about fiscal responsibility. Drawing from his financial background, Carney proposed a balanced approach to taxation and spending. He criticised previous administrations for inefficiencies and pledged to streamline government operations to ensure taxpayer money was actually used effectively. Thirdly, climate action. Understanding the pressing nature of climate change, Carney committed to revising carbon tax policies, focusing on holding corporate polluters accountable. His goal was to position Canada as a leader in sustainable practices while ensuring that environmental initiatives also supported economic growth. And lastly, housing affordability. Addressing the housing crisis, Carney proposed measures to increase housing supply and implement policies to make home ownership more attainable for Canadians, aiming to alleviate the financial burdens many face in the housing market. These comprehensive plans resonated with many Canadians, especially those seeking pragmatic solutions to long-standing issues. So what made Carney so popular among Canadians? A significant factor was his outsider status in politics. Unlike traditional politicians, Carney brought a fresh perspective. Free from partisan entanglements, his extensive experience in global finance and crisis management instilled confidence in his ability to lead the nation through complex challenges. In contrast, previous administrations faced criticisms that eroded public trust. For instance, Justin Trudeau's tenure, while marked by progressive policies, was also marred by ethical controversies, such as the SNC-Lavalin affair, which raised questions about accountability. Additionally, some felt that Trudeau's approach to balancing environmental initiatives with economic interests was inconsistent, leading to some of the public becoming dissatisfied. Carney's promise of a pragmatic, results-orientated leadership style appealed to Canadians wary of political scandals and inefficiencies. His commitment to evidence-based policies and transparent governance offered a hopeful alternative to the status quo. Carney immediately faces a complex array of challenges. One of the most pressing is managing strained relations with the United States. President Trump's administration has imposed tariffs on Canadian imports, including steel, aluminium, and crude oil, escalating tensions between the two nations. Carney has emphasized the importance of defending Canadian sovereignty and is seeking to diversify trade relationships to reduce economic dependence on the US. In his first international engagements as Prime Minister, Carney is set to visit Paris and London to strengthen alliances. His plans to meet with French President Emmanuel Macron and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer to discuss diversifying trade and coordinating responses to US tariffs. Additionally, a meeting with King Charles III is on the agenda, underscoring the importance of Canada's historical ties with the UK. Domestically, Carney is focusing on asserting Canada's sovereignty in the Arctic, a region of growing strategic importance. He plans to visit the Canadian Arctic to reaffirm the nation's presence and commitment in the area, especially in light of increasing geopolitical interest from other countries. Navigating these challenges requires a delicate balance of diplomacy, economic strategy, and national assertiveness. Carney's background suggests he's well equipped for the task, but the outcomes will depend on both his administration's actions and the responses of international partners. Now, Mark Carney's transition from central banker to Prime Minister marks a significant shift in Canada's political landscape. His blend of financial expertise and fresh political perspective offers both opportunities and challenges for the nation. As his administration tackles pressing issues from international trade tensions to domestic policy reforms, Canadians and global observers alike will be watching closely to see how this unconventional leader shapes the country's future. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a bit different from my typical SideQuest podcast videos. This one was scripted. It took me a long time to script, which is kind of crazy considering how long this video is. The video's not going to be that long, but it took me a very long time to script. Like I said, a bit different, a bit of a different topics what I normally talk about. Boxing, MMA, touch of wrestling, but this was something that really interested me. The new Canadian Prime Minister, and looking at his background and thinking, wow, it's interesting. You don't see people with his background often coming to politics and be so successful so quickly. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're from Canada and you've got any thoughts on this, let me know. Even if you're not from Canada, I'm curious to know what other people's perspectives on Mark Carney are. So yeah, that's it from me, and I'm out. Peace.